With the YouTube adpocalypse still looming over many channels, if you want to support this one, check out my Teespring store for the latest merch. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater, and this is news that I know is going to really make some people out there really happy. You're going to be jumping up and down for joy in your seats that Solo cost Disney $50 million. That this is somehow payback and penance for Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. And listen, I like the movie. I've been open about that. I kind of look at this as like, yeah, I think this is a direct. I think there's in part that this is a reason. Other people disagree that this not necessarily the reason, but I do think that there are fans out there that decided to stick it to Disney over The Last Jedi, and I have a feeling that the $50 million loss is going to reflect negatively upon Rian Johnson's standing within the company. At least one can only hope. Yeah, I'm usually a very positive person on Star Wars. I can't do it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying. I keep trying to find the silver lining in The Last Jedi, but I just can't do it. Now, it says here that Lucasfilm standalone Han Solo origin pick is faltering at the global box office, where it will top out in the $400 million range. Now, $400 million is no small number. Let's be fair about that. But even Justice League pulled in $654 million worldwide. So, I mean, it's kind of being compared to that. I don't know why necessarily. It's not an event movie. It's an origin film. But if you want to talk origin movies off of established characters, we could tie it into like Wonder Woman, and that was $800 million worldwide. So I think that'd be more of an apt comparison. But anyway, now to borrow one of Han Solo's lines from The Force Awakens, that's not how the Force works. It's an apt way to sum up the troubled performance of Solo, a Star Wars story, in one of the biggest box office surprises in recent times. Solo was so badly underperforming and will become the first Star Wars movies made by Disney and Lucasfilm to lose money. Yeah. Here's the thing. I still stand by the notion that this will find a home on home video. This will be revered down the road, but they released it too soon. They released it too soon to The Last Jedi, and the controversy surrounding that movie, I think it had an impact. I think there's Memorial Day weekend, there's Deadpool, there's a bunch of factors into this one, but I do think that ultimately, yeah, fans were really upset, as evidenced by the fact that they keep being attacked by people who have worked with Lucasfilm on writing some stuff. Like Chuck Wendig has spoken out against this. Other people have spoken out against this. And it's not execs in the company or anything like that. But it does, again, keep leaving a bad taste in fans' mouths because they feel that the people who are the gatekeepers are attacking them for not liking it. Now, Wall Street analyst Barton Crockett says Solo will lose more than $50 million, while others insiders gave a range of $50 to $60 million. Industry financing sources, however, say the figure could come in at $80 million or higher, although no one knows the exact terms of Disney's deals for home entertainment and television, among other ancillary revenues. So there's also the merchandising. I haven't seen anyone buy merchandising. I haven't really looked for the toys. I know they came out closer to the release of this movie because The Last Jedi had released the toys so early on that there was no hype or buzz around them, and so they just didn't sell during Christmas, probably because the movie also isn't very good. So if revenue is down from merchandise, then that's definitely going to end up being a problem. So it says here that the movie isn't likely to gross more than $400 million globally against a budget of at least $250 million and a major multi-million dollar marketing spend. The movie lost major altitude in its second weekend, with a domestic total of $148.9 million and a global total of $264.2. It does say that Disney and Lucasfilm appeared unstoppable with Force Awakens, and since then it's just a fourth film. It didn't work out. But other analysts are saying some other stuff here. So over on Deadline, it says Solo is a no-go due to poor marketing, not franchise fatigue. And I believe this is in line, probably a little bit accurate as well. I don't believe that the franchise fatigue is a problem here. I really honestly don't. It's just that when it's preceded by a bad movie, even a mediocre movie is going to get hit really hard. Right? Now, it says here that Solo only mustered $264 million at the worldwide box office, but one prominent voice on Wall Street blames the misfire on poor marketing, not a larger issue with the franchise. I'm going to say there's definitely a marketing issue because, I mean, they marketed the hell out of Rogue One. They marketed the hell out of Last Jedi. I haven't seen much, but this also does tie in line or kind of fall in line with the reports we heard back in December that they've kind of already written the movie off after The Last Jedi's first week. So there are things to consider there about that being a possibility. Now, Doug Kreutz, a veteran media analyst at Cohen, issued a report that reaffirmed his market perform rating on Disney shares. While the report is based on his financial view of the company, it allows the analyst a chance to wade directly into pop culture waters to offer his take on why Solo stumbled. Point by point, the report knocks down some of the biggest suggested culprits, from production woes to tight release calendar spacing just 5 months after The Last Jedi, to lingering fan animus towards The Last Jedi, saying here if the franchise was able to survive The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, we have a hard time believing The Last Jedi could have done that much damage. Oh boy, son. Oh man. I should really do a video about that. Okay. Whew. I'm pretty sure the comments are going to be livid with that particular statement right there. Oh, y'all survived the Phantom Menace, but I'm pretty sure it had no impact on The Last Jedi. I mean, come on. Phantom Menace, right? You had 19 years of Jar Jar Binks. Like, who gives a shit? I mean, we've had 19 years to lament on that particular freaking movie, right? We've had look, I'm just gonna say this, right? What did Last Jedi give us? I'm gonna wait for your answer. It's not gonna be much. What did Phantom Menace give us above all else? Right? What did Phantom Menace give us? Duel of the Fates. Okay, case closed right there. Case closed. Shut the book. Shut the damn book. It's done. Again, seriously, I should probably go and do a video on that one. Projecting a final domestic tally of about 200 million. Kreutz notes that Solo's international gross is accounting for 75% of its global total, the lowest percentage of any franchise entry or spinoff to date. Given the hefty production and marketing costs, he concludes that the film may well finish in the red. Yeah, if not, I don't see it really turning a profit theatrically. If revenue and home video, from merchandising and toys and home video type stuff, and also licensing out to different markets, and home video, the way they're going to break everything apart, I don't know how that's going to work out. But then again, at the same time, with Disney's streaming service coming out next year, you can be sure Solo's going to appear on there, and who knows how many times that's going to end up being watched. It's one of those things. He says here that even though the film's struggle has occasioned some concern that audiences may be suffering from Star Wars fatigue, we think this is probably not the case, and that Solo's biggest problem was an uncharacteristically for Disney poor marketing campaign. Yeah, I mean, it says here, because he goes on to say that he argues that the marketing for Solo failed to persuasively sell Alden Ehrenreich as a young Han Solo. And by contrast, he pointed to the first teaser for Rogue One, which came out 247 days before the movie. The first 35 seconds of the trailer almost exclusively focuses on Felicity Jones as the protagonist, selling her as this new franchise hero. And the second half is dominated by the Imperial Alert, Klaxon, and Forrest Whitaker's voiceover. And it practically screams epic at the viewer, which is true. That first trailer, that teaser trailer for Rogue One was freaking awesome. Whatever you want to say about the movie, you got to admit the trailer was good, especially that shot of them putting the radar dish on the the putting the radar dish on the freaking Death Star, and then out of the shadow comes the Star Destroyer. Like, oh, that was so good, right? Like, there was a lot of epicness there. And I will say that the trailer for Solo failed to push Alden Ehrenreich. It really did. It honest to God did. The movie, the first teaser didn't even have him speak. He only had a couple lines of dialogue, and they weren't even like full lines. They were like quips that were in the follow-up teasers and the follow-up trailers. So we got more with I think other people, other characters, than we did with him. And that didn't do much to sell fans that this is a replacement for Harrison Ford, that this is going to be, the person kind of taking on the role for these three films. So I don't know if this movie is going to end up pulling enough money to warrant them making a sequel. I would argue that it's going to pull in enough for them to do Solo 2. They may not do a trilogy, but they might do another film, another Han and Lando story as a way to tie into the Kira thing, make it maybe leave it open-ended enough to warrant maybe a third film if it does better. But they're going to have to really, really, really reconfigure how this franchise is released. And I would argue that if we do get a Solo 2, it will not release during the summer season. It's going to be in like a March or a September release. kind of off-season time as a way to dominate that particular box office trend. So at that point, it won't be up against anything. They're gonna set it where it won't be up against anything that could put a reasonable dent in it. Both Avengers: Infinity War and Deadpool 2 had made dents in Solo. There's no other way around it. So there's, like I said, there's a bunch of reasons why this movie is a no-go. A lot of it, I believe, is fans. There's also the Memorial Day. There's Deadpool. There's Infinity War. There's poor marketing, failure to sell Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, which I think he did a good job. So there's that. But yeah, this goes to show you again, going back to my previous point about Kathleen Kennedy. The buck stops with her, and the fact that we're seeing failure after failure after failure after failure all lead into this box office disaster, I really think is showing where she stands right now with the particular franchise that she is the one in charge of. So maybe Bob Horn and maybe or Bob Iger and Alan Horn can maybe set her down and have a little chat, right? And bring in Dave Filoni while you're at it, just for good freaking measure. But anyway, my name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been 3 Buck Theater. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on this one. Do you think that these reasons are accurate? What do you think is the biggest reason why the movie failed to connect with audiences or failed to get audiences in the seats? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, check back often for more content from me. In fact, if you want to support it, you can do so through patreon.com/mundanemat or teespring.com/mundanemat. That's right, I got some merch now. Soon there will be 3 Buck Theater merch, and it's an awesome image. And if not, if you just want to watch more content, you can do so right now.